Hi, this is Lisa with I Am Radio. This week the phrase that's been coming around my head has been learn by doing. And this has been a bit of an interesting theme for me, certainly over the last few months, if not years. In that, the biggest, I want to use a better word than successes, the best things that have happened to me over the last few years have not been planned. So, and I was thinking about, because I've got a new website and new social media profiles. It's a new way of presenting yourself to the world, however that comes across. But I have not planned any of it. It has come very organically. And I was thinking back to the time I got reminded of this, what happened with the Burns book, which was completely unplanned. I went to a charity sale, bought this £2 beautiful book, which I'd planned to leave in the house and admire while touching it spasmodically. And then it came that a friend suggested I donate it. Turned out it was quite historically significant. Turned out there was a press release, which I thought was just going to go to the Dunfermline Press. Turned out there was it got picked up by most of the papers. It was on the BBC News. Wow, that still kills me. It was in the Scotsman. It was in the Scotsman. So, and I never planned any of it. And I certainly never planned a couple of weeks down the line getting a letter that I got a commendation from the Scottish Parliament. So, if I'd sat and planned this, it wouldn't have happened. So, it's almost like following one step and then the next step and then the next step. And it's almost like you're walking down a set of dark stairs and you can't see all of the stairs in light, but you can only see the next one. So it's like with everything that's been happening to me in the last few months, years, it's almost like I've been putting my foot down on that next step, and then the next one appears, and the next one appears, and the next one appears. And it's almost like the universe is only giving you what you can handle at that time. And that to me is what I'm going to come back to learn by doing. To me, what it's all about, it's about being present. It's not worrying about what's going to happen in the next 2 months, the next 2 years. It's worrying about, I need to deal with the here and now. And when you're living in the here and now and being mindful and being present and being in this moment and in this time that will never happen again, you're free. You're so free. You're so free to see that esoterical hint in front of you. So in thinking of this, I went back to how I started this podcast, and I'm talking about, being very organic and just, seeing things as they come. What I'm not mentioning is the fact that, I heavily thought about and planned and researched and over-researched podcasts. I spent a month looking at microphones, which I'm still yet to understand. I've got one that I very like, and use my phone most of the time. But, so I over-researched, it's like, decided I was going to launch into the world of podcasts and attacked it like this, some sort of military operation. And I found I got myself stuck within this overload of information. I would sit and I would plan and think, and then the fear happened, which was the fear. Not that waking up on a Sunday morning fear. It's the, that fear of, oh, can I do this? Oh, I'm not too sure if I could do this, but I'll spend another week looking into this little bit of information that will make things a little bit more clear. So, it's this feeling of that's what it all comes down to. I certainly procrastinate because of fear. And fear's a trickster. In counselling, the term ego defence mechanism is used a lot, and that's our go-to behaviours. So, a couple of minutes ago, I'm speaking about over researching. That's my go-to. I was a police researcher for 7 years. I can, find the full stop in a pile of paper, so it's that was a go-to for me. That was very comfortable. I could do that on my head, spinning backwards. Didn't need to think about it. What I was uncomfortable with was sitting with my phone and just speaking. So learning by doing, essentially for me, is just doing it. Just doing it, just trusting what is happening next and just going with it. I'm sitting here on this beautiful Wednesday morning, and I'm part of the prom, and I'm overlooking the beautiful sun and the light hitting the water and the two ships that are in the water, and it's an outline of Arthur's Seat over in Edinburgh and almost the bridges. And I've not planned to sit here this morning, but it's and speak to y'all. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it feels good. I'm doing it because it's in the here and now moment. I'm doing it because I'm speaking about something that's important to me. So, learning by doing is trusting. That's essentially what it comes down to. It's trusting, not so much in other people, but in yourself. It's trusting that inner knowing. It's, I call it my internal antenna. I'm very intuitive. So when I'm with someone who, don't feel comfortable, I'm looking at the door, I'm making an excuse to go, that for me is a warning signal. Or I could be with someone that makes you feel so comfortable that it's like you've known them forever. You're instantly, that trust is there, that, and that's almost that inner knowing and that trust extends to yourself. So when you're looking down at that step that's illuminated in a little bit of light, it's like you're listening to your inner knowing before you put your foot down on the concrete. That's how I see it. That's how I see learn by doing. And it's like ever decreasing circles. I found recently, the last couple of weeks, that I did another over research, endeavour. There's a direction that I want to go in that I'm looking at, and I'm just overthinking it. I'm just absolutely overthinking it. And what happened was the universe delivered circumstances to me which were like a gift on a plate. This beautiful, if you can imagine, this beautiful piece of chocolate clay cake on a plate, and I'm taking a bite. Absolutely, I'm taking a bite. Using a lot of symbolism today. But it's that I'm looking at this beautiful, beautiful sea, and it's like taking an invitation. It's like taking the next invitation and just going and doing it. Just going and just do it. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? That's a phrase that's been coming around my head recently. What's the worst that can happen? It's that there's a saying that Nelson Mandela, a quote that he said, I love quotes, which was, I either win or I learn. My interpretation of that is, if you find yourself in a situation where you're unsure of the direction, where it's going, what you're doing with it, it's almost like this. You've got nothing to lose. You've got absolutely nothing to lose, because either it works out great or you learn. And it makes me, that fear and that procrastination that made me research podcasts, which is a never-ending research field, and get myself stuck, consciously stuck, absolutely consciously stuck. I chose to do that. I was aware I was putting it on a shelf and looking at it and making it more complicated than it was, when all I had to do was not pick up the mic that I bought, but actually just pick up my phone and speak and use my voice. So, So it's this. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to go through another phase of learning by doing, and I'm really excited about it. I don't tend to speak about what I'm going to do next specifically, because by the time I get there, it invariably changes. But that's good. That's been things being truly organic and truly working, and just working with or being aware of everything that's around you. It's a little bit garbled this week, but it's like I'm in midst understanding of this way of being I have, and it's like I am going to develop a better picture of it going forward. In counselling we talk about the beginnings, middle and endings of a counselling relationship, of a personal counselling relationship, whatever that is. And I feel like I'm in the middle of understanding a lot at the moment. I'm no longer... I've gone away from the books. I'm no longer the student original. I feel like it's like I'm in the middle of things, and I'm not sure how it's going to be, or how it's going to work out, how it's going to be received. Going back to what I've just said about how it's received, I think it's quite an interesting concept of what other people think of you. I might do a separate podcast on that. What the neighbours say. And that is something, certainly as a creative, I have had to get over in the last few years. And it comes down to, if you want to be yourself. I think that's my signal to stop. So, this is, So,